Okay, I think the microphone's on. Hi, everyone. Let me know when you're here. Oh, I I was a couple minutes late. I apologize. I've been so busy all day today that I was running late. So look at that, 2 minutes. You know I hate that. So I apologize if you were looking for me. Hi, Diana. And let's do this. And how was your day? Hi, Donna. How are you? Hey, everybody. Um, oh my goodness, I need to collect my thoughts. I've been running like a mad woman trying to get stuff done and get ready. Uh, let's see. I have a thumbs up from the technical director, and I have been working on some design team work, and so I can't share that with you, but I have been so busy. It's just crazy. And I'm doing a better job of time management, balancing the Nashville Craft Retreat work and design team work. Hi, Laura Stahl, and all the things that, I actually want to do at home and behind the scenes stuff that I can't share. And it's just, life is crazy, but I'm doing a better job. I was a little stressed out the last couple weeks because I kind of let the Nashville Craft Retreat take over my life, and literally working like from the time I got up until the time I went to bed, and not feeling like I got anything else accomplished, and then even wondering what I was doing for the craft retreat. And so I'm doing a much better job, yay me, on managing it. And I'm pretty proud of myself, and I'm happy. Uh Look at that. Diana, isn't he so cute? Look at him. That I put it together, our cute little card that we worked on last week. And y'all know working on something right in front of you is not normally my best work. So I just wanted you to know I actually do go back and work on things and try to finish them on my own. And I had to, because I needed to do a card for Spellbinders. Spellbinders, disclaimer, sent me all the things from Spellbinders that I'm using, because I work with them and promote them. And the nice thing is, I have to tell you, let's put my face on here. Hey, everybody. The nice thing is with Spellbinders, and it's not always like this, I'm going to give you a behind the scenes look at how design teams work. Sometimes, everybody thinks, oh, I'd love to be on a design team. And let me give you a little tiny insider information. It's not always what you think it is, because you don't always get to pick and choose what you use. And quite honestly, sometimes we don't always get stuff that we personally would go by. But because you're on a design team, you've got to try to come up with something, and it's not always easy. And so being on a design team is not always fun and games like you'd think. It doesn't matter if you get something free if it's not something you really are motivated to craft with. So not all the time, but once in a while that happens. And normally you obviously only work with the company that you usually like their stuff. And so it's not normally a problem. But once in a while, even your favorite companies, it's not like you fall in love with everything that they like everything that they put out all the time. And because, everybody has different tastes, and that's what companies have to do. They have to produce something for everybody. And so, it's not always. Once in a while you get something, you're like, oh no, what am I going to do with this? But the nice thing is with Spellbinders is I get to pick and choose whether I want to craft with something or not. And so anything that you ever see me use from Spellbinders is something that I've chosen because I liked it and I wanted to craft with it. So I love that about Spellbinders. Love it. And so the nice thing is, yes, they give me everything that I use most of the time. I'll tell you if I buy it myself. But the nice thing is it's something that I really like and I really wanted to use myself. So Laura says she would fail at a design team. Why would you fail at a design team, Laura? You would not. And so Anyway, disclaimer, Spellbinders sends me the stuff that I use most of the time, but it's stuff I get to choose and I really like. And so last week I introduced a lot of these new mixed media things from Dina Wakley, and y'all know I love Dina Wakley and I love mixed media stuff. And so a few weeks ago, we did the whole series where we were creating all these mixed media backgrounds, and we went from basic to bougie and just started at the bottom, ink blending through a stencil, and then really did a lot of different techniques. We used pastes, we used stencils and inks and embossing powder, and I'm trying to think what else we did. We did so many different things. Tim Holtz distressed glazes. I think we even pulled out scribble sticks from Dina Wakley and some Tim Holtz watercolor pencils. And so all kinds of different things going on. But last week, I did share, we started this and I was fumbling my way through because there were no instructions, and it ended up being so easy, wasn't it? Because all we had to do was put a foam dot behind this little star and then put the little hanging mechanism. It had a hole in it and we hung it up, and that's what makes our little balloon swing. And so y'all know how I feel about elephants. They're like my absolute favorite of all time, and I just think he is so cute. So let's look at this again. So here's what I did. And I know last week we were just die cutting colored paper and kind of putting it together. And I added some ink blending to give it some dimension. Hi, Stacy. I ink blended, gave it some dimension. I put those cute little eyes in, and he has his cute pink cheeks. And I did some ink blending on the basket, and look how cute my star is. I gave him dimension. And then, you know me, I ink blended the background, and I did not like the one that I did, or we started last week. So I did this one because I think, I'm a little biased, I know, but I think we have some of the most beautiful sunsets in Tennessee. And so Rich will always come running in and say, oh my gosh, go look at this sky tonight. Go look at the sky. And so this, I tried to emulate some of the pretty skies that we see with like the corals as the sun's going down. And then I did some ink blending with purples and lavenders, and then navy blue as it's twilight time. And then even, can you see all of the shading I did on the clouds? Because, you know, clouds reflect, lots of times the lightest part is at the top where the sun or the moon is shot reflecting off the top, but at the bottom is where they'll take on color from the sky. And so the clouds at the bottom have some yellow, but then they were lavender and purple depending on how dark the sky was in that area. So that's why I ink blended those. But isn't he cute? Wishing you a wild and wonderful day. And in that set also, and that was a better press plate, I believe. In that were all kinds of sentiments, not just new baby sentiments. So I thought it was so cute. Hi, Stacy. Thank you. So anyway, I wanted to share that and let you know, yes, I do lots of times go back and finish our cards. And so that is the Spellbinders one. And that was the Wishing on a Star, I think, set. And I need to go add that to tonight's supplies list. There's Ricardo. He's jumping on too. Sorry, I'm going to take a drink of my Diet Dr. Pepper. Okay. So I wanted you to know, and this was a perfect opportunity because last week I shared all these Spellbinders products that I'd gotten, and I need to finish these and you know, make Spellbinders cards. So I'll make some others besides what we're doing tonight, just because when you're normally on a design team that, you know, they want you to only use their products, which is totally fine. I get that. But when I'm crafting for me, I get to use products from any company and I can do what I want, right? So when we did a lot of these, and you know, it's not like my Facebook Lives are, quote, kind of owned by a company, or that I don't get paid for doing my lives, nothing like that. And so I get to do what I want in my lives. And so when we were making these backgrounds, and we used Crafters Workshop stencils and my Catherine Pooler inks, and I think this was a Picket Fence Studio die. I love this big chunky postage stamp die, and I have to tell you, I'm going to be honest, y'all, my craft room has been such a disaster. I still cannot find this die. Now, I started cleaning up this week. I did a lot of cleaning, but I'm not done because I need to clean out my storage closet where I keep all my supplies. And my desk is not a complete wreck, so I think I'd see it if it were on here, but I just need to clean up and really get all of my supplies organized again. So anyway, in my lives, I can do whatever I want. And so we used what we wanted. And tonight we're going to use Spellbinders combined with all this other stuff. And so I will have, specific Spellbinders cards using all Spellbinders products. But tonight we're using whatever we want, right? And I'm reaching and reaching and reaching. A couple weeks ago, I thought we were going to finish cards. And one of my favorite ways to finish a mixed media card is with die cuts. And so we pulled out these really large Tim Holtz dies, and we die cut some moths and these giant butterflies, and we did some shimmer spritz and things like that. And I had cut a tag, and so we cut that, and then we cut this out of a Pink Fresh Studio new die that I have. But we didn't actually put anything together. And earlier today, after I finished with some design team work, I pulled out the Spellbinder stuff because it is Dina Wakley. And Dina Wakley is mixed media. And so I absolutely love this line, and not this one, but all these other things are Dina Wakley products from Spellbinders this month. And I also wanted you to know, we talked about how I organize supplies and my pouches and sleeves. And so I did get some more 5x7s because I was out of those, and I needed more printing tape for my brother's P-Touch. And so I did want to show you that I actually do, when I know I'm going to keep something and I have time and I want to be organized, I will put it in one of these nice sleeves. I put a label on it, and I need to know this code because when I add things to my supplies list, it makes it easier to look it up to put the link on my supplies list. So these are Dina Wakley, and this one's Feather Dream. And I shared these with you last week. And this one's Collaged Birds. And then we have the Holding Your Heart Sentiments for the Better Press. And I like that it's got the die and the sentiments. And then we have two 3D embossing folders, one called Scribbled Letter, and another one, I have to tell you, I laughed out loud because here I am, the English major, the reading teacher. I had this spelled souring last week for our live, and nobody even said anything. So look, this is my sticky note from last week. It says souring. So I laughed really hard today. I thought, what a ding dong am I? So, but I spelled it right. Soaring 3D embossing folder. So, and then I have one more. This is not Dina Wakley, but I am nuts for a really good film strip die. And I actually did not have one. So tickets, film strips, like photograph, almost like the, what do you call those? The Polaroid dies. I love anything like that. And I think these are great for mixed media. Any kind of dies, I think work fantastic for mixed media. So let's put some of these together. Now, earlier today, just a little bit before we started, I did do a few things. And one thing I did, and I don't know that I love it. I think I do. I used these, I believe this is the Soaring. Nope, this is Soaring 3D embossing folder. This one, it's got birds in it and words. And I used it on the very first background that we created. And it's subtle, but it's got some texture on top of the visual texture that we had added through the stencil and the ink blending. So I like that. And then I use my Better Press. By the way, I think I'm going to be really honest, doing some design team work, and I had a lot of Better Press to use, and I've been playing with it the last couple days. And granted, I had the Better Press, and I'll tell you a story. I will do this. I'm kind of funny about machines, and people will ask me, hold on. I know you think like I probably get all the new machines right away, you know, and all the new stuff and all the new tools. And I don't, I really don't, because you know, I don't need one more thing in my craft room. And, in all honesty, it's like, if it doesn't seem to be in my normal realm and it's not something that I think I'm going to use all the time, I don't buy it. And so the Better Press came out a while ago. I mean, when did it come out? Like a year ago or what? Who can tell me? And I didn't get it. And people talked about it and they talked about it. And I'm like, no, don't need another machine. And I had people asking, you know, some, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like everybody was asking me to do stuff. Don't get me wrong. And everyone asking me, you know, but a couple companies were like, and including Spellbinders, can I send you some Better Press stuff? And I'm like, nope, I don't have one. Of course, secretly I was thinking, well, Yana, you can send me one and then I'll use it and I'll try it. But, I was like, so, thank you, Yana, but I don't have one. And she, you know, a while later, do you want to use this Better Press stuff? I don't have one. And finally, I broke down, I think last summer, and I found a really good price. I think I found one for like $55, and I bought it. And it sat here. And that the funny thing is that's exactly what happened with my Glimmer machine. I had my Glimmer for probably 4 or 5 years before I pulled it out, because I was scared to use it. I didn't know how to use it. I was intimidated. I had it, I'm not kidding, in a cabinet in the box for like 5 years. Finally pulled it out and I liked it. So the Better Press sat here in my craft room for a while. And finally, I think it was Yana asked me and I said, I have a Better Press now, because I knew she wasn't going to send me one. So I said, okay. And I used it and I'm like, this is fun. Oh, I know what it was. It was for a Christmas card. And it was had the poinsettias. And what I loved about it is that it did the background. You could make the background any color you wanted. And then it had layered stencils for the flowers. And I thought, this is great, because that's one thing I always want. And I know there are a couple companies who will sell like the background stamp, and then you can color your flowers or ink blend or whatever. And I've never bought any of those or anything. The Greetery may have a couple like that I'm not sure. By the way, Betsy has a release coming out tomorrow that is so stinking cute. I'm just saying. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like bunnies and Easter and chicks. And of course, I made the mistake of watching her introduction video today, and I want everything, but I know I'm not going to have time to use it, and I want everything. So just saying, I'm enabling right there that Betsy has a new release out, and it goes live tomorrow at the Greetery. And you all know how much I love the Greetery and how much I love Betsy. So you have to go look. But anyway, you know, use the Better Press. I really liked the card I made. It was so pretty, made it so easy, but then put it away again and didn't use it much. And so I have some design team work that I can't share. I think I can share it next week. And I crafted all day long. And if you know me, normally, you know, I don't craft all day long. And I'm a really slow crafter. I got so much done, I have to tell you. The Better Press is my new favorite crafty tool. I mean, hands down. And I pulled out my Glimmer machine because there's so many things you can do with the Better Press plates. I mean, I kept going and going and going and going. So stay tuned, because next week I'll have videos, tutorials, and really go into, I'm not kidding, it was like the gift that kept on giving. And I just, there's Keita Cole. How are you, my dear friend? I miss you so much. Tell us how you're feeling and how you're doing. And oh my gosh, I miss you so much. Now I'm going to cry, Keita. I'm going to try not to cry. I haven't seen Keita in forever. So, I'm not crying, Keita. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. Okay, let me focus. So, Better Press and the Glimmer and all the other amazing techniques and things you can do. Like I was just whipping out all these things I had done yesterday, showing Ricardo, look at what I made, look at what I made, look at what I made today. And I don't usually do that. So just saying, the Better Press system is my new favorite, hands down, crafty tool. Just saying. So stay tuned for that. So we'll go back here and we'll actually get something done because it's 7:22 already. So these things from Dina Wakley are Better Press. And we've got these. And here's what I really like. There are dies, coordinating dies with them. And then we've got the sentiments also. So we will do some Better Press stuff. I'll show you. But I already made some. And it has the die with it. So before I came on, I thought, well, I'll hurry up and get stuff. And this is what happens. You can't just do one thing. You start doing more and more and more because it's so fun and it looks so pretty that you can't stop. You just keep on going. Now, this one, you can't always get the impression because the whole point of the Better Press originally was that it would be like the old-fashioned, really beautiful letterhead that was copper plate where you put the impression in the fine linen paper, and it was just beautifully produced and printed, and it pressed it into the paper. Well, that's what the Better Press is supposed to be. It's supposed to press it in. But I will tell you, and I'm not going to give away all my tips and tricks tonight, but when you use regular paper like hammer mill, you don't always get the impression. Not very often. You get the best impression by using a watercolor paper because it's thicker and the fibers, I believe, are a little bit more loose. And so it lets you impress it more so. And you also have to put some shims and stuff in there, but that helps. So anyway, that's one thing that I've definitely learned and kind of figured out in playing with it in the last couple of days. So these, like this is on, I don't know if you can see it, on watercolor paper, and it definitely, I don't know if you can even see it here on the back, has a feel. It impressed it or debossed it, I guess. I don't know what the term is, if it's embossed or debossed. I'd have to really look it up. Anyway, it pressed it in and you can feel it and it pushes that ink in there. And so this is that one. This is scribbled. This is in Feather Dreams. And I love that it's like scribbly letters, but also it has these like ink blots and kind of little speckles in it. I love that. So listen, you're not going to put this on a card like this, probably. That's not the point. I'm sure Dina Wakley doesn't want you to do that. How it looks really cool is you're going to tear it. And this is watercolor paper. I wet the back and then I tore it and it tears much easier. And then I inked it. And then of course I dribbled water and I did all that stuff. And the cool thing that I like when I'm doing mixed media is lots of layers. Okay. So mixed media looks really cool, especially if you're going to get really funky with it. When you layer. So I just tore this. I'm not saying this is what I'm going to do, but we have texture on the background. I used the press plate on this, and then I inked it and I tore it, and I tore I created another piece and I tore it, and I like a lot of layers. I think that looks really cool. Something else that you can do, and I have not done this, so we're going to see how it goes. I'm getting Brares. Let me find them. I have several, and I'm looking for my smaller one. I have a smaller one. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Oh my goodness, I have more brayers than I realized. Let's use this one. And now I'm going to look for some white gesso, some white paint. If you have a background, and I tell you, I want all of the Tim Holtz Distress paints and stuff. I don't have them all, but I also have the Dina Wakley. Let's see what I've got. Oh my, more than anybody ever needs. Okay. Grab some paint, and I'm just going to use white, and we're going to see how this goes, okay? First of all, you need to know what the viscosity is. Dina Wakley's is a very heavy bodied paint, so you have to know, you might need to add some water to it. And let's hope this wasn't closed very well. So I'm actually going to practice on a scratched piece of paper. You may not be able to see it. I'm just going to see how this goes. See how heavy bodied that is? It's you put a dot down and it's holding its shape pretty well. That's more of a heavy bodied paint. A heavy bodied paint is going to hold its shape, and Dina designs her paints that way. So one thing we could do, let's see if we add a little bit of water. I just want to see how this is going to move with my brayer. Okay, so you can do this and do some marks. And it will also, now see, I had color on here, so I need to clean that off. So I'm glad I practiced, not that it would make a difference on there. But make sure your brayer is clean. So let's spray some water on it. And I'm going to use a baby wipe. My paper towels rolled off my desk and across my craft room earlier today. So they're on the other side of the room. So I need to get that. And I'm going to spray this and clean it before we go. So my point is, if you create a background that maybe you want a little bit more white on it, you can always do some ink rolling. And now we kind of know how that's going to move, and we'll see if we like it. So I might put it right here before I do it. Let's try it on this background first and see what we think. Now remember, we have Catherine Pooler ink is a water-based dye ink. This paint will probably pick up some of the color because it is not going, it doesn't stay there. Okay, so I put some paint on here, and we're just going to put some marks. Okay, and don't be scared, okay? Now I know I can add a little bit more. And, you know, think of all the things you can make marks with. If you're not brave enough to go right in with your brayer, you can use bottle caps. You can use palette knives. Be creative. And we want to go different directions, right? Now see how that lightened up my background. Okay, and your brayer's kind of a good tool for that, just to create marks, and you're lightening that background, and it has that mixed media feel. It, you know, it does. This is not something that needs to be perfect. Now this is paint, so you want to be sure you wipe up. You know, you could get it off, but it would take more work than if you just clean it off right away. Some people don't clean off their brayers. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but we obviously learned from the blue on there that I should. Okay, so that's a way. If you think that is too dark behind this one, lighten it up a little bit, right? And there we have, you know, another thing. And once again, if you don't like that, then do some stamping on it, or run it through, because it's watercolor paper, run it through your Better Press with the same press plate on it, okay? Or now remember, paint is plastic. Acrylic paint is basically plastic. So it may not let you put ink over it. It might resist the ink, and that might give you a really cool effect. But you know, whatever you want to do, think about it. So I also have this white edge. That's not for everybody. We could ink that up. We could see how it goes. We could put some blue on there. We could put some pink on there. We could do some different things. The cool thing is it will pick up this color, and we do not want to get wet paint on our ink pads, so make sure this is dry before you start going in with the blending brush. The good news is when you put just a really thin layer, it's going to dry really quickly. And of course, we're going to add splatters on all of this because that's just the way I am, right? Okay, let's see. Let's go in and do a little bit of ink blending here on the torn edge, which might be kind of cool. That's kind of a cool effect, right? So mixed media things. I love to tear paper. I will, let me think, lots of layers, right? I like dimension, I like string, all those kinds of things work together on mixed media. And I'm going to show you, we'll do one more grungy kind of, you know, do what you want kind of thing. And then we'll do a little bit more safe kind of, everybody would like it kind of thing in a second. Now you see how well that paint resisted when I sprayed it with water. We could do some really cool ink, you know, make the ink run down there, but we've definitely softened it. And we could tear the edges, or we can put it all at the edge like this if we wanted. And we could even move it down and do some. So there's lots of different things we could do here. We could put vellum over this back part to soften this. I like that look too. And you could even tear vellum. Let me see what I've got. I've got thinner vellum and I have heavier weight vellum. And the thinner weight, see how that softens it? And then we can add this over it, and I think that looks really kind of pretty too. So different things you can do. And we could even tear this vellum. This is a very thin vellum, and I'll put this on my supplies list. Since we're, you know, tearing paper is very organic, and let's see where we are. I wanted to cover most of the background. And this is pretty cheap, so you don't feel badly tearing it and wasting a lot of it. Now, there are dies called decal edge dies that if you don't feel comfortable tearing paper and you don't think it looks good, but yet you still want kind of a grungy, I think I may have pulled some decal edge. I think I have a Honeybee Stamps square. I love a good square card. I think square cards work really well for mixed media. Remember, square cards take extra postage though. So just remember that if you send it through the mail. And this is not going to tear exactly the way I want, but it'll be okay. So there we go. That's kind of cool. We have torn here. Then we have this. And then if we added this, we could even soften this up by doing some heat embossing on the back. You could use your Better Press plate for that. And then I might, let me put this away. Let me show you what I would probably do. And then we'll pull out the Better Press. And I don't know if I want to add one more piece to this or not. you could see if you liked that, to do layers. Just play with it, okay? Sometimes I really have to look at it and I have to play with something and mess with it and see if I like it and if I don't. It's not always perfect, right? We'll do some splatters on here and then we'll move on. Let me get some string. I have black. I think black would look really good with this. And then I have these feathers. We also have the birds, but since these feathers are already done, we'll see how these look. So we've got these, and then we can even tuck this one in at some point if we decide we want this kind of sticking out or popping out of something. Okay, we'll have to look at it. So let's go ahead and remember that we have the string there. Let's keep this. And if you think the black is too harsh, you could always do it, keep it monochromatic and do it in the same glam color. And that's the safe way to go. You could stamp this in brown, because remember, a brown I consider a neutral. It's not really adding another color to this. It's a neutral color, just like black and gray, neutral. So you can, and white, you can put it with everything. It's going to look good. So everybody's quiet all of a sudden. Do you hate it? What are you thinking? You're like, that's a big mess. I don't know. So, and you know, this one is not for everyone, but I'm going to show you how you can, something to tone it down. And I did show you, some examples a couple weeks ago. Let me put the Dina Wakley paints away. Of a little bit more toned down, the thing, you know, what you might normally expect to see from me. But let's get the Better Press out. And you do need your die machine. And I just use my little Spellbinders Platinum 6 because I know it works perfectly. I do not think you should use it, your Better Press, with your Empress. You know, I have an Empress machine. I've had this die machine for a while. And so this is what I use with my Better Press. And I'm going to tell you something funny. Couldn't find my Better Press the other day. And I thought, well, this craft room is such a disaster. It's no wonder I can't find anything. Well, the funny thing is, it was in exactly where it should be. It was in the little acrylic organizer that I keep on my desk, and I keep my Misties and my stamp wheel, and it was right in there, nicely organized, but I just assumed that it was not going to be there. So, haha, I thought that was funny. Okay. So the Better Press, and I'm not going to walk you through how to use it because, like I said, I'm doing a video, several videos in the coming weeks on Better Press. But here's the basics. So super easy if you've never used one. So first of all, has an A2 size card right here on the base that you know where to put it. And it's got an A7 base right here. So you know exactly where your plate should go and then your paper should go. Now, on your plate, there are these little magnets. This is the top acrylic part. It's metal, and the magnets are on here, and it snaps the cover. Can you see that? Snaps the cover into place right there. So you can, it has the outline on here too. Here's the A7, and here's the A7, and here's the A2. Now I put, because I want more of an impression, a piece of cheap watercolor paper, and I taped it right on there, and I just leave it on there to act as a little bit more of a shim. And then I can either use my watercolor paper to get the impression, or I use hammer mill, and I still don't get much of an impression, and that's okay. But remember, your hammer mill is going to be bright white, and any kind of watercolor paper always has a hint of color to it. Okay, so let's pull out These are the Holding Your Heart sentiments that go along with the Dina Wakley other things from that release. So there's 2 little plates, and then there's the die that coordinates with it. So let's just see if we can. I don't know that we can get all of them at one time. So I tend to be a little, what do I want to say, relaxed on how much paper I use, because I'd rather do it once and then keep any extra paper as scraps than to have to do things over and over again. I put that upside down. So this is magnetic, and when you put your plate down, it actually is pretty strong. I mean, it doesn't move very well. And by the way, under here, did I put these? Okay, there are the little shims under here that come with it, and they act as a little bit of a shim. So I put those under the plate. I'd done it a while ago, so I couldn't remember. And then the magnet sits there. And then in the A2, I have the sentiments, and it comes with a little ink pad, and it is specially formulated. They went to Ranger. They had it specially formulated. It's like an archival, but it's a little bit more viscous, and it sticks to the plate a little bit better. I will tell you, I don't like using the little ink pad because it kind of gets everywhere. I like to use a bigger ink pad. But here's the cool thing. You can use any kind of ink that, well, I can't say any kind. I used pigment. I used a water-based dye ink. I used my Catherine Pooler inks. I will say that my Altenew inks didn't work as well because they're a little bit more, you know, Catherine Pooler inks have a little bit more viscosity to them. They stay wet a little bit longer than other water-based dye inks. So I found that my Catherine Pooler inks worked really well on the Better Press plates. And then I also used Archival. I used VersaFine, and they all worked really well. My Better Press ink pad is small. I didn't like it because it kind of got everywhere. I like a full size ink pad, and it's a little bit dry, and you do want kind of a juicy ink pad. Now, you saw me, I figured out that if I spray Hi Kathy Dodd, I like to clean the plates before I ink them up for the first time, you know, when it comes out of the package. I think, as with most stamps and most dies, they come from the company and they might have a little bit of a coating or something on them. And so I just like to clean it off with alcohol and even run my fingers and my towel over it a little bit to make sure it's kind of conditioned. And I did find for the first couple of impressions, I thought I got a better print the first couple times by doing that, especially using a non-Better Press ink. So since we're using black and black or glam, I'm going to show you that we can use, this is glam. Now remember, Catherine Pooler ink pads are foam, and so they're very squishy. You don't want to press too hard on your Better Press when you're inking it up. You want to do very light tap, tap, taps, okay? Until you figure out the pressure you need to get that ink on there. So tap, 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 tap. And don't smush, 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 okay? And then I move it. Now, on a small plate like this, look, I'm getting ink in between. I'm getting ink on my Better Press. It's fine. Now, is that maybe going to get on my paper? Maybe, but I'm going to use the die cut and cut this out. So it's probably not a big deal. If you want to gently wipe that up before you run it through, you can. I tend to not to. Now, here's the other thing. A lot of people online will put some tape and then press their paper onto their plate and then put their plate on. I don't know what it is with me. You'd think that would be the intelligent way to do it. I don't know what it was. I don't like that way. It's just me. So I tend to just very gently follow the guidelines. I lay my paper down. I leave it. I don't mess with it. And in all honesty, Most of the time, I don't have any problems. So then you put your plate on. Don't push down on it. Grab it by the handle down here and pick it up. And you notice it says better press on the system here. It says better press here. I tend to always make sure I have it right there like that. Then I put it in the die cut system and I go very slowly because remember, water-based dye inks, any kind of ink, is transferring onto the paper. It has to soak into the paper. So I go very slowly because I want that impression. I don't want to have to do it twice, and I don't run it back through. I go through once and then I'm done. And you heard it pop out because it was finished on the plate, and I take it all the way through. I personally do not run it back through. Same with the glimmer machine. I find I mess it up when I try to run it back through. The paper moves, something moves, and then I pick it up right here at the bottom, pull it straight up, okay? And then I very carefully just grab it. And see, I got ink at the bottom, but it doesn't matter because we're going to die cut it. Hold on, my phone just beeped. Okay. What's going on, Diana, that you're messaging me? People are messaging me. Tell me if I need to look at it. Okay, so I love that typewriter print. Isn't that cool? Seriously, love it. Okay, so I know there's ink on here, but it's a water-based dye ink. I can clean it off anytime. I'll go ahead and do it now. I like to use alcohol. You can use water because it's a water-based dye ink, but I just use the alcohol. Okay, and oh, Diana says no alcohol on press plates. Why? Diana's going to tell me why. Why no alcohol, Diana? She's going to tell me why. Because I have to tell you, if you use, oh, that's from Spellbinders. Well, I need to know why. Just telling me not to isn't good enough for me. Somebody look it up, please. Why Spellbinders? So this might be good to know, but I have to tell you, I've been doing it the last 2 days and I like it because it cleans it up better than water. But tell me why. Maybe because it'll take the guidelines off my system. I don't know. Tell me why. This is good to know. See, this is what happens, I guess, when I don't watch tutorials and I figure things out. Okay, because it's a metal plate, you know. So tell me. Okay. Somebody look it up for me and tell me why Spellbinder says. I guess I need to check things with Diana before I go live, don't I? Oh, that's probably why she was messaging me. Okay, she's going to go look for us. Okay, I'm drying the ink. And you know what? I don't claim to know everything. So I'm glad someone, you know, Diana told me. Because I don't want to tell you to do. I hate it when people give wrong information. So I would much rather be corrected and fix it. Because I would never want you to ruin your machine. And I don't want to ruin mine. So once I hear why, I'll decide whether I'm going to do it or not, right? Because, you know, if you use something like archival ink, normally you need something more than just water to clean it, I think, to get it really clean. So I'm heat setting that, drying that ink. And now let's die cut it. And I know you're going to laugh, but I don't have my plates out for the Spellbinders, so I'm going to run this through the Empress. Okay. Look how perfectly this works. I love this, that it has the coordinating die. And look, can you see it's going to cut the edge like it's a tape, like it's a piece of torn tape. That's really good for mixed media. Love it. Diana, are you looking that up for me? Or is it just stated? Do they say it, or they might not tell you why? I always need to know why. And I love when you get all kinds of sentiments out of one process. So there's half of them. Then there's another half. So these say, thanks for always being there. And here's the really cool thing. This one is not perfect, but that's okay because in mixed media, it doesn't matter, right? And then look at these little edges. How cute is that? You have the power, my dear. I know I probably wouldn't use that one very often. Thank you, truly. I love that one. Sparkle like you mean it. I would use that one. I am so glad I know you. I would use that one. And you got this and have an epic birthday. I would definitely use the epic birthday. And you can use more than one, right? You have the power, my dear. You got this. Look, put these together like that on a mixed media card. How cool would that be? And use your little Tim Holtz stapler. That would be so cute. So we've got that. And I promise if we don't hear from anybody, I will look it up because I need to know that, because if I'm doing something wrong, like I said, I don't want to tell you to do something and I don't want to ruin my machine either. That's not correct. So if Diana doesn't tell us or someone else, I will look that up because we don't want any bad information out there. That's like a serious pet peeve of mine. You get a lot of bad information about inks and especially inks combined with alcohol markers like your Copics. So much bad information out there about that. And you know what you can use with different kinds of inks and what you can't. So big pet peeve of mine. So I do not want to give the wrong information. Okay. Says it's bad for the finish on the press plates. Oh, well, now I want to know what the press plates are made out of. Because I thought they were steel, like a die, but maybe not. Okay, so there you go. We don't want to mess up. Now that I'll go with. We do not want to mess up the finish on our press plates because it probably would not make as good of an impression, right? When you run it through. So think about that. Okay. We're also going to get out some foam tape. Thank you, Diana. So there we go. Now I want to know what they're made out of and figure that out. Here's what's really cool. Thanks for always being there. Thanks for always being there. I am so glad I know you. There you go. Let's put these on here. And I will say, did I show you all of my foam tape and how I organized it last week? I'm kind of proud of myself because I don't always organize, but I check out this foam tape. And I will say, Cody sent this to me from scrapbook.com. And I've been using it for a couple of weeks. And I have to say, like, I love it. Because, look, this is the inch wide tape. And you can get it in 3 different sizes. This is 3 millimeter, 2 millimeter, and 1 millimeter. So if you like dimension, but sometimes you don't want as much, you can pick the size. And then these are, I believe, probably 1/4 inch in the same 3 widths. And then we have strips in different widths. And I am proud of myself because I put my score tape back here, pulled something else out of this messy drawer, and then I kept it all in there nicely organized. So I can just reach in, and I'm probably going to put, have you seen the little kind of tension rods? I might put one of those in here and then I can just pull it out, right? And then here's our little strip foam tape. So, and then there's solid pieces that you can just cut. So, and you can tell I've used that one, so I'm going to put that one up. And I just flipped back the flap so I know what's what. And that one will go here. So this one is up because I've cut it open. And this one is the 1/8 inch wide. This one's the 2 millimeter. So you can see it's the middle one. And I really like these strips. And it's black because, you know, you can't find black foam tape very often. So I thought I'd show that. just put it in one of my bins, and it goes in a drawer right here behind me to my left. So I can just reach over and grab a piece, snip off a piece when I need it. So I'm going to do that, the 1-inch, and let me cut off a couple pieces. And, you know, if it gets smaller, then it'll be, you know, I'll just have it somewhere on my desk, probably in my little acrylic thing that's easier to grab. But for something like this, now I'm going to use this vellum, but we need to tack it down in the middle so that it is not showing. Okay, all we need is a little bit in the middle. Let me make sure I have it the right way. My background. Tape that down. And I'm trying to figure out, do we want to use this one or not? I could even, if I wanted to, use that, and that breaks it up. I kind of like that, right? Don't be afraid to try different things. And see what you think there. We could, you know, I can always add that later. Let's take this down. And notice this is going to go all the way across. I did not tear the sides. Okay. Now I'm going to add this one. I'm going to add tape here. Now, I have to say, because I'm still thinking about Diana telling us we're not supposed to use alcohol. That's a good lesson, actually, for me too. We get so excited, especially me, to use our tools, and I'm like, I can figure this out, I got it. But really, we really should go and, you know, kind of read the user's manual, right? Or watch the demo from the company. And I think that that's a really good lesson that actually I need to do better at, especially if I'm going to go live and tell y'all how to use things and what to do. I really should be more, I guess, prepared. And it's a lesson in not getting too excited and not really knowing. I like this. I think we need another piece of this, and maybe even some white paper torn might be pretty in there just to break that up. It's not that I don't like this. I just think we need something. And I have all this scratch paper here. Let's see about tearing just a piece of this. And see if I would like that behind it. And that's it. You know, you can always tuck things in. Don't be afraid to, I don't know that I'm going to like this one either. And that's okay. I think it just needs to be a little bit more torn. Or use a piece of we're going to get there. There, that added a little bit. See that? Just added just enough to break that up. And you could add another piece if you wanted to. Doesn't really matter, but you know, just sometimes it mixed media is all about layering, and you keep messing with something until you like it. The water or the archival cleaner. Now see, that's interesting because you always hear that the stamp cleaners and especially archival cleaners are harsh. So that's kind of funny, interesting. But I guess if they went to Ranger and had the ink formulated, then it makes sense that it would work, right, with the better press plates. Let's go ahead and we are going to, and I might, if I had, let me see if I have the stapler close by. I don't, my stapler I think is in another drawer. I have that little, puts a little tiny staple together, and I love it, but I don't have it out. So I am going to put this right here. And we're going to put these together. But before I put that down, I'm going to do the my string. And I will normally at least double it, if not triple it. Let's do it. Let's see if we have enough to wrap it. I think string is a really cool kind of thing to use in mixed media. And I'm going to tie it. And then we're going to pull it apart. I like to tie it in a knot just so I get it tight before I tie my bows or my knots, whatever I'm doing. Did I get it? Okay, so once you've got it, then cross these strings, make them cross, make them go kind of different ways, and use your pokey tool if you need to get them to go across each other. See that? Things like that. That's cool. See how that looks? And then separate these right here. And then we're going to put our feathers, kind of tuck those in here. We're going to pull this down a little bit because I want this to be down this way. There we go. And see, then those can go there. And I need another piece of foam tape. And then I'm going to do 2 here on this little one because it needs to be popped up double from this one, right? And then we can put our sentiment. Now I'm telling you, if I had my little stapler, I would be stapling that. And let's get this. Sometimes if it's a string that has more body, I'll just tie it in a knot, especially like twine. But this one, we might need a bow. But sometimes on mixed media, I like a good knot. There we go. This one, that'll look good. And then cut the ends off. And we'll fix that and mess with it, you know, and pull the strings apart and all that good stuff. I like a double bow when it's just string or twine. See, it can still look kind of girly, right? It doesn't have to be. Thanks for being there. I am so glad I know you. What do you think? We could put this one here, or if you don't like that, you could put it straight and not put it at an angle, and this one could go here. And then the other nice thing is you could ink this a little bit, but I think I kind of like that it's more white and it's breaking up. If we inked it and added some pink or grunged it up, I think it might be too much. You know, some people like that, some people don't. But kind of wondering if I want these attached and like this. Now, I have to tell you, I'm dying to put splatters on here, but we're already at 8:08 and I think there's so much going on already. I think white splatters and black splatters would look good, but I'm not going to. Look at me. Using some constraint. Now I'm going to show you these awesome foam strips because I love these. And what I do is I just kind of eyeball how much I need and cut like, you know, a strip, a little bit of, normally it grabs 2 at a time. So that's okay. So I will just cut into it a little bit of, you know, what I need and trim that off. I love these. I've been using these a lot. You know, I try to use things and not say much for a while to make sure I like it. But like I said, I've been using these for a couple of weeks and I do like it. And I like having black foam tape. You know, they have white, but I've been using the black a lot and even on white cards and you can't see it. So I think it's worked really well. It cuts easily. I can pick the size that I need. Sometimes you don't want it to be as thick. And I'll put this back on here because I try not to waste any of it, to be honest. And you could add some glue to this also if you're kind of worried that it's going to stick. Going to tuck it behind that feather right there. And what do we think? I'm thinking not at so much of an angle. Maybe like that and like that. That'll be okay. Maybe I'm not thrilled with it, but it's fine. And this one technically should have, let's use that other little piece under here. It needed a second piece because of the dimension on the other layer behind there, right there. And we could trim that off if we really wanted to. There you go. What do you think? So that is definitely more of a funky kind of mixed media card with torn paper. It's got some of the kind of interesting print back there. We even have texture on here. We softened. The thing is, if we hadn't softened this background, our eye would have not known where to look. There would have been too much going on, right? but that kind of softened it, and we tore everything to give it that organic feel. Here's one. We've talked about this one before. This is a more normal kind of me mixed media card. There's a lot of going on. It's kind of a funky background, but it's got my flowers on it, and we softened a lot of the back up. Here's more of a funky one, like a kind of traditional mixed media card, lots going on, torn paper, string, you know, feathers are always kind of a bohemian look. We've got our little torn looking paper sentiment. And then here's more of a softer, more feminine mixed media card that lots of times you might normally see me do. More kind of mainstream card, but I really like this one too. And we broke up the two colors of the torn paper with some more torn paper, and I think that kind of added the last final touch we needed. All right, what do you think? Thank you, Laura. Thanks, Diana. Thanks, Laura. You're so sweet. Thank goodness Diana was on to correct me, and I appreciate that. Like I said, lesson learned. Read your manual. Know how your products work, and I'm glad to know that, because I would have kept right on using it, the alcohol. So I don't know that I totally agree, but I'm going to go with what they say because I don't want to give you wrong information. So thanks, everybody, and I should see you next week. Alrighty, so have a great week. If you don't see me before then, I do have design team new release next week, with better press stuff, and all kinds of tips and tricks for the better press, and all kinds of, oh my gosh, I can't wait to show you, because I had so much fun. And I'm telling you, the better press is my new favorite crafty tool. I'm so glad that I've been using it. All right, thanks everyone, have a great week. I will talk to you later. Bye bye now.